And this is arguably going to be, we make a mistake now and we don't mark these walls out to be in the right places of the house, and it's going to lead to a world of problems later. So we're going to be going through, starting with our external walls, making sure that, and then we will continuously 3, 4, 5 the walls and just make sure all the walls are square with each other. And if you don't know what 3, 4, 5 is, it's the simplest and easiest way to make sure a room is square. 4 meters in the other direction, you should have exactly 5 meters between those 2 points. If you've got 5 meters, it means that you do have a 90-degree angle in that corner. Then we know we can adjust those walls in or out very slightly to make sure that the house is square. The house, we're just going to continue going through and mark out where every single wall goes downstairs. This is going to give us a good insight on what the house is really going to look. To flick these lines, we are using a chalk line which is filled up with oxide onto the concrete slab, meaning that we can leave these lines here for a few days or a few weeks down the walls. With the slab all marked out, we can start to get ready to build the walls. First thing, we're going to top and bottom plate, and I'm cutting them at exactly the same measurement, and we're just going to tack them together with a few nails for now. So nailed together, we are going to lay them down on the slab exactly where that wall is going to. Once the plates are cut in, we can start going through and marking out the studs on them. For this wall here, there's no special features, and it's just a common stud spaced wall, which is stud spaced every foot. And the way that I mark my walls out onto. We're also going to go through and mark out all of our windows and doors at this point as well. And while we do this, lintels need to go in these walls. Because once we start opening these walls up and start building them, we're just going to be flying through and we don't want to have to keep stopping and checking the plans. And whilst I'm going through and marking out all these wall plates, someone else, well, I didn't end up getting any footage of them doing that, but that's such a crucial thing to make sure all the studs are the right size before we start building these walls. So we don't get confused on what wall's what, I'm going to go through now and just mark every single one out. So when we pick the wall up, we know it's not twisted the wrong way. Once we've gone through and labelled the plates, we can move them to the side. Once I'm ready to go, I'm going to lay my wall out, take out those temp nails, and we're going to open up the top and bottom plates. And we're just going to open them up wide enough so we can fit the studs in between them. This is an external until it gets to that junction, and then it's an internal wall for the rest of the way. For the internal walls, we're going to be using these studs here, which are a 90. Smaller studs is only for a cost reasons. Obviously, 90-35 is going to be a bit cheaper than 90-45. Not a lot of builders I work with do it, but So what I'm doing at the moment is going through and laying out the studs for the wall. One thing you'll notice me doing, every time I pick up a stud, I'm going to raise it up to eye level and sight if there's any bows in it. And plane back every single stud. And if you get to the other side of the wall, it means that all you have to do for that whole wall is go through and pack it. Having the bows facing inward and plating the studs are so much easier, cheaper and clever, so much time, and make our lives easier when we come to straighten. And with the studs all laid out, I'm just going to get a gun and we're shooting 2 nails into every single stud to hold them both to the top and bottom plates. Doing is cutting down both studs inside the wall hard up to the top plate, and this lintel's going to support all the weight from upstairs. Once we put the lintel in, we're going to be framing down from the lintel to frame the opening for the window or the door. For this one, we've got a window so we can at the bottom, and this is going to be what the window sits on and what supports that window. Plate and shoot them up to the stud. This is just going to help hold that stud to the plate, and if there's any uplift in the future, the walls aren't going to pull apart from moving side to side. With the first lot of walls framed up, we're ready to start standing them, and I'm just going to spend a bit of time to make sure that they perfectly line up with those chalk lines. As per the engineering plans, we do need to go through and nail the frames off to the concrete slab, but we also will go through later with some big concrete screws and properly screw that frame down, holding that until we get the next wall up and ready to go, and then we're going to shoot through the walls and lock them together. When we frame the walls on the ground, it's always important to make sure that we're building walls that are going to link up with the other walls. Sweet. I'm on with you? Yep. We frame these 2 doorways without a beam or a lintel at the top is because this is an internal wall and there's going to be no beams or no posi sitting on top of it. Since there's no weight on that wall, we don't need to worry about it. Another thing that we're doing, I'll jump on this right now, any wall that butts into the last stud is what I'm going to put in now. It's going to get screwed to the steel, connected to this. It's just so I've got heaps of room to get in there with my drills and easily work in and connect it to this. Oscar gets prepared and gets all the temporary steel. When we frame the next batch of walls up, what the purpose of everything is and what walls. It's actually been a while since I've done a job and I've put the steel in first. which I'm really happy about. It's so much easier when the steel's in first, we can build our frame to it, and we're not really building our frames and going through. So if I sit it on there, it's actually not hard down yet. It's sitting up slightly because it's hitting the thread. So I'm going to line it up pretty well and get my hammer, and we're just going to give it a tap. And there you have it. That sits on there perfectly. I think it's always good to have your nog finishing exactly, or your extra bottom plate finishing exactly where the stud is, and it just stabilizes everything a little bit more. All right, so what I might do now is I'm going to move the steel back and forth and shoot it into the wall, holding the steel plumb and connected to the wall. And we're just going to be using those to hold the wall in place while we go through and do all of our ply bracing and cross bracing, which we'll get to later on in this video. When we actually lay out the wall and we're building it, and once all the nogs and studs are all shot in place to the beams, it's a lot harder to go through and crank them plumb afterwards. That's just one case of what could have happened. Also, when you're moving the walls around and moving in the wall, and once they're locked in and plumb, we'll come through later and we can tighten everything off then. So the steel isn't plumb, we do need to pull it in this way. I think the best way to do this is, I've cut the stud, I'm going to shoot it on at the bottom here. So that's plumb. I'll lock that off. So obviously we do have a bit of steel towards the back there, so we're going to have to do this a fair bit, but I want to keep it a good process of going through, plumbing up the walls that we put in and connecting to the steel straight away. But it's just going to make it a lot easier for ourselves. So the frame's connected, the steel's now good that way. When we build this wall coming through here, we're going to do the same thing, and then that's going to lock the steel right. A few things we're looking at when we do lay the studs in. Firstly, the most important one is sighting them for straight in terms of that way. If they bow in and out that way, it's not an issue. Have to be dead straight. We're not going to be able to get a planer in there if we do straight studs there. If any other stud has a slight bow, we always want the bows to be facing down, middle of the frame, hold them all straight. I always thought it was very common to use them, but I think I've seen a few American builders, and I've noticed that you guys don't actually, you guys would go through and sheet all your external walls completely with ply. It's not something we do. So since we're not sheeting all the walls, they're not going to act as a bit of a brace to hold the studs in place. So we do go and put all these nogs in for the bigger walls at the bottom there. So I was actually doing this job towards the end of last year, and that's why I'm using Hikoki's first gen framer. I've now got the second gen framer, which is heaps better. It's heaps lighter, easier to use later, and you're wondering why I'm using this gun. That's exactly why. Our walls are 2660. It's about 2665, but I'm going to go 1332 right in the middle there. Hey, do you have that? Thanks, boss. Flick this line in here. And then as you can see, we do scatter the nogs. We go one up, one down, one up, one down. And that way we can get a double snake bite direct fixed nail in there. And we don't have to worry about skewing through the... I actually prefer how it looks like that. I do know a few people that will run them in a dead straight line, and it's just extra work, not as secure with just skewed nails. And I don't think it looks... Are actually going to be 2340 doors. What we're going to be doing is adding 60 mil, and that allows for the floorboards to go on. Same thing, we add that 60 mil. So we're framing either at 2-1 openings or 2-4 openings. So in this case, is measuring up that 35 mil to allow for the header. I'd get someone on the miter saw cutting a lot of those 185s. Just going to use one of these studs for it. And that way, when it does come to framing, we're not doing what I'm doing now and running over to the miter saw, cutting stuff all the time. That's 3. And go straight up that way. So this could be the top. 4, 5. But we've done 300 stud spacings for any wall that's going to be in the bathroom. It just gives it more support, more fixings for the tiles. Obviously a wall with tiles is going to have more weight on it. Sweet. Oscar's running the show. He's gone through, finished off the part. We'd hopefully go through, straighten this party wall, and then get that heber wall completely built. Meters tall, so that they match him with the same height as those smaller walls sitting up on top of the slab. This is a double story house, so we've got to make sure that that subfloor is completely level the whole way through. And for these taller walls at the back, we just got away with using 90x45 pine. When studs are around 3.4 plans saying that we only need a single 90x45 stud. Actually, I'm going to run it over 2 different walls and it helps tie those walls in together. Especially where we got any junctions where the walls butt into each other. I want to make sure that the pitching plate runs over the join in place. It means every time we put a posi or truss on top of the walls, we'd need to go through and put a stud directly below them, hot plates together. If you get a really windy day or a gust of wind pushing through the house, there's a chance that the wind could actually uplift the house and pull the house apart, but these straps just help hold everything down. So we're ready to go for the heber now. What we're going to do to start with is we've got these tracks here. What I think we do is we might just start at the deck out or rip where that step up is. I don't know if I mentioned it, but what we're actually building is a duplex. We've got 2 different houses right next to each other on the same slab. You always need to have a fireproof wall in between the units. And that's why we're using these Hebel panels, which is going to act as a fireproof wall, starting on the slab and going all the way up to truss height. So what we'll do is we'll go through, we'll coat up every join with the glue. Yeah. And then once all the sheets are up, we'll go through and do a layer over the face. Watch out, that stuff might splatter out. Yeah. Oh. You good? Yeah, baby. Stick on it. Sheets, we are going to be putting in for a joining strip. So, fire mastic. So it's like in.
Is it party wall which is just for fire, or is it for sound as well, kind of?
Party wall is for fire and sound. Its main purpose is for fire, but it does act as a really good sound barrier. Alright, so the boys are sitting up at the back now. Oscar's putting the C channel down at the bottom. Basler's putting the brackets on. As soon as they're done, I'll jump down there and help them put the Hebel panels up. While they're doing the cut studs here, the other reason is that I was waiting for this. For this step down part out here for the porch, I do want to build the bottom plates using treated pine. Can you hold that? Do you want to flip it the other way and then Oscar can stand behind and read it? How much strength do you have if I let go? You got the whole thing?
So you want to go up?
We've got the Hebel wall up and it means it's time to jump onto this unit now. Only issue is that this unit's almost exactly the same as next door, and you can see there's a lot of walls in the middle of the house here. We've got almost every wall ready to go, and then at the end of the day, it's just going to be a prefab day. Do you want to jump over there? What we might actually do, we're not going to stand the wall up. Yeah, we'll flip her, pre-install the cross brace, and that way we can actually wrap it under the bottom plate. So we'll just go straight up. Since this crossy is going to be on this side, these studs have the bows facing up, so it's easier to straighten. So I jumped a step then. We're going to take these off and just flick a line when I go. Get the plane up. Happy there? That's just the middles of them. That's where we want to get a lot out of. Get her up, let's walk around to the other side. Do you want to go, are you going on an angle? Yeah. Yep. Sweet. All good? That's very good. So for this day, it's going to be a lot of stuff that we've already seen and already talked about, just building more walls. So we might skip through most of the walls and jump onto the next part of the job. Now, as you can see, both units have been framed up. Today's actually going to be the day where we have the most people on site. So we're going to get the most amount of work done today, and today's going to be a day. So one thing that this frame has to brace the walls are these power trusses. You might not use it in other walls, is because we've only got a small 800mm nib turning back in away from the house. Normally you would have a longer wall where you can put your ply bracing on or your cross bracing, but For these power trusses to work correctly, they have to be bolted to the ground with no movement at all. That's why we go pre-drill all these holes into the concrete, clear them all out, so that once we're ready to go, I can get that chem set ready and just run around and do all the power trusses at once.
Sweet. Easy as.
So we actually got through these power trusses a lot quicker than I expected. I thought we might be fluffing around trying to screw them into place and trying to line up the holes on the ground, but it was. With these done, I'm going to leave them, and a few of the other guys are going to come through now and extend our wall frames to the power trusses and screw everything together. I'm not actually going to be doing these concrete screws in every single wall. The only places where I need to put them in, metal cross braces, which we've seen a bit of when we're framing our walls. We've gone through and pre-installed a lot of them, and the other type of bracing are the ply sheets.
They're definitely the easiest braces to put up, but they offer the loss of scene. We can see all the way through. There, all those up. We see we're just following the engineering plans. We don't determine where these go. And we've also gone through many of these, but these are like the highest tier next level of bracing.
Walls and pack the rest of the walls up to that point. Even if we built the walls perfectly, the wall heights aren't going to be level because they're following the concrete slab. It has quite a few bows, especially towards that party wall. We can see the top plates of the walls are bowing up and down.
Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot done today because of the rain. We did go through, both units have been completely leveled with that datum line, so we know what to work off. The goal today was to almost... It's going to hit the steel, is it?
Nah.
Sweet. Oh, that was easy. Cool. Do you want to throw me a tape up straight away while I'm here?
Yeah.
And we'll just get a measurement for this first beam. Thank you. So can you... At 3.5 meters, please. I'll do for you how I work out exactly where they go. Tag there. But they could either go both beams on one side of the tag, both beams on the other side, or centered of that tag. So we're going to work out exactly. So this is a lower. We can see this is where the downstairs wall finishes, and upstairs is a bit shorter. There's a few different ways we can get this. There. That key is sitting directly on top of that steel. So we can just go off the steel. Now then, as we look at the measurements, we can see bed 4, 190, 90 mil for a timber frame, and 3850 plus 190, which is 4040. Up and we'll measure this.
There a gun up in there?
No, there's nothing. And also we've got the posies just rocking up now too. So I think we're almost ready for this unit for some guys to jump onto. It should be pretty straightforward. All the time's really just involved in packing the steel off. All right, so we're up here. That's gonna be hooking over that wall, and then we want 4040. If I come here, we can mark 4040 right there, and we've got a 90 mil wall here. So that was 4040. Let me just recheck them on my. That is an issue. This is normally what happens when you check these measurements like this is your measurement should work perfectly with a steel tag, especially because we are just completely going off this. So right now we're gonna have to change this. We just did next door and it was millimeter perfect. So I'm not too sure what's going on here. What I think we're gonna do is I'd rather pull this over by 20 mil. And then when we build our wall, we might just have to have the wall coming across 20 mil on those beams. I think as long as that wall is on the beam by at least 66 mil, it's completely fine. So that is a bit of an annoyance. It's 25 mil off. That was 4. So if I mark 4155 here, that's hooking over, so we're gonna go back 90 mil. And we can see that same 25 mil. So what should happen, these units are the same, that there should match up. So we do it, we always, I don't think we do that. I think we fortunately go where that steel tag is and pull it over 20 mil, 16 mil. What we're gonna do absolutely everywhere is I might actually get my ruler out for this. We'll get a closer look. What we're gonna do for every posi and beam in this unit, we're gonna get that on this up 7 mil. That might just be 2 bits of ply and a bit of Malfoy. We'll see what we have. And the beam will sit on that. 2, when we're going around with the laser, we did get a few points set up and you can see we got a mark there. Oscar's actually done this one, that mark, pack up the other side, and that's where it's gonna land. Today's absolutely disappeared on us. Unfortunately, we missed out on most of the day because of the rain. In the end, it probably would have been best just to write the day off completely. Not a lot's got done. We'll go through, we'll pack the steel, do this beam, there's beams over there, We'll start. All right, so we had a really good start to the job, and now we're just running into hurdle after hurdle. Yesterday, we did go through, laser everything. On the other unit, we got a few beams up packed. Today, even more bad luck. Yesterday, we were set up here on the scaff. We've got our beams up there on the wall, and we're going to put them through. But someone's broken into the site last night. Move on, sort that out. We'll sit up towards the front today, and we're just going to start doing the front beams, try to get as many posies done in the front as possible. And we're just going to have to get another scaffold. Do you?
Yeah.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oh my god, that's scaffold.
We're putting the steel in. So the boys went over, we've got one of the platforms. Everything else is missing. What also doesn't make sense is after the job site, overnight. So someone's obviously came in at the front, and this is just left by, so we still can't do. That was interesting. Packing the steel, our posies are going to be 300, are going to be made to sit on top of that. For the bigger steel at the back, the posies are just going to butt into it. Regardless, even though we're packing the top of the steel here, we still want to pack the inside of it. Okay. Bit of 90. So we'll get it, it needs to be flush with the outside, and then we'll clamp that on. Not on me. Thanks. Yeah, nice. Wasn't too big though, we'll get some smaller ones. Yeah, but regardless, we're gonna have a roof, and we also need to put timber on that steel to connect to. So while we're packing the steel, we don't just want to think about the posies, we want to think about everything that needs to go on here. So we'll either side. What I like, that's good there. Let go?
Yep, sweet.
Oh, that's good, cool. So I'll clamp that, and if we just roll it, the nail's going to come out. Yeah. Let's see if these holes line up then. Yeah, well, this is pretty good. Sweet. We've also built these two walls that were missing. These are crucial walls that are going to hold our upstairs beams going from that tag to here. The reason we're not winning is the builder looked at the security footage to confirm this. We've had beams stolen from just before we rocked up. That's what the goal was. So instead, we're just going to keep moving forward. These load studs here, we confirmed these marks. We got them from one of those points over there where the wall stuck out. This lines up with that tag, and this is where upstairs finishes. Transfer this mark to the wall behind me. I'm just going to butt in. 12, 16. There we go. And we can go through now and start getting our posies in there, which is on the other side of that ply wall. They're all just common 450 centers. So what we always do for the first posi, instead of going 450, we go 405. And the reason we do that is that helps it work with our flooring sheets. Our flooring sheets are 3/6, meaning our posi will be there and our flooring sheet will finish here. Bringing this posi back 45 mil means that flooring sheet's going to land half in the posies at 400 mil on every flooring sheet. So I might just make my way through just to where that wall is. So it's there. Alright, so that's it's at a level by about 2 mil over the level. And your side, it's actually on the bottom of the steel on your side. You'll see it.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah, so our level line runs out with the steel. So yeah, I just wanted to confirm that the steel was out of level. Yeah, upper floor finishes. Oh, let's redo that. I'm gonna pull it tighter. Alright, so it's that low one there. What I'm going to do instead, I'll mark out, but I'm going to put that first in, and then we'll run a string line over the top. So we got 405. I can go 450 there. If I come across here and our measurements are just all over the place. Every single one misses a bolt, which is good. Could I get your gun, please? Or a gun, please. This handle being here has actually worked out to be so handy. Cool. So we'll get that on its line there. Flooring going on top of this. And then we have 8mm that we're going to have to plane down. Our wall is finishing for upstairs. It's finishing about here, or about that 5-10mm. Bit of a nightmare. Don't really see pre-installed threads like this on the steel, but these posies aren't too good at all. I can see massive. Let's hook that on. Come the string line for every single posi, which is right there.
The frame's starting to look good now. We've got some posies up in both units. I've done one of the garages and the boys have jumped.
Alright, so these are our joist hangers that go under the posi, and we just load them up with our small 32 by 2.5mm, which is a gun that shoots nails directly in the hole. What we're going to do with a coil gun is penetrate new holes through the steel. Smaller than what is intended to be used with these brackets. It's completely fine to use the coil guns. I've asked multiple inspectors about this. All they say we have to do though is penetrate for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 nails on the side. So this is what we've been supplied with. And as long as it's a pass, I do think the way the industry is going though is it won't be too long until inspectors and builders start asking people to not use the coil guns for these. Alright, so the joist hangers are up. Next thing I want to do is slide in the strong back. Alright. So I'll slide this all the way to the middle of the posies. So I just want to make sure that this sticks out enough so that once we put these beams up here, that's going to butt into the beams. So what we're going to do is push that hard up, and this strong back's going to get nailed to those uprights in the posies, and it's going to support the top. We've got a fairly, whenever you step on that low point, you're just going to hear that squeak. So we're going to push this up. Make sure, I hope this gun's turned on. It's not. This one's just a temp one, so it's going to be here for today and it's going to be gone at the end of the day. We don't really trust leaving a scaff here after what happened in the last episode. Shoot those beams off and also attach it to that cleat. Put these beams up, and I'm going to, so we can start doing the posies out here too. Sweet. A bit more of a stretch on either side. So on the last episode we had the two beams cut, and we just left them on top of the scaff. Stole the scaff, they would have just thrown them over there. They're not going to be too bad to pull across though. straight in. So I'm not set up to do it now, but that's going to really hold it down and hold it in place. For now, let's just shoot. Oh, that has just died on me. Height is right, and now we can go through. Door. First half of this unit here is done, and we're just going to wait for the scaff to get over into this side. First thing I might do is measure blocks to go underneath all these posies here, which are going to be top chord supported. Are all made to be supported at the top chord here, which hangs over the beams. This beam here isn't put in level, so these blocks are going to be a little bit different. So we've got 81, 75, and 70. So just quickly ran around. I had to add a few double load studs underneath where these beams are. We didn't mark those out when we were framing the walls. Instead in the stair void. So we're obviously going to be building a small little nibble across there to support the upstairs wall. I pack these posies here. I've got to pack these for the coil gun. We do need to do some cyclone ties down on either end. I reckon it's been a good 4 or so years since I've done the cyclone ties. It's normally a job I've handed off to some apprentices to do. The stud. The main concern I have is right now in this corner here, we're going to have plaster going against this wall, and the plaster is also going to go in the roof space. I've got that flat across there. I'm just going to keep going for it. Let's go across the top. So for this side, I'm going to twist it here, and I'm going to bend that slightly. And as we can see, most of that's sticking out, and that's cavity right there. That's in the subfloor space, a little sweep. So I'm going to shoot this off. For this one here, we can get away with it. If I go flat through there, I'm going to come in on a bit of a steep angle. That cavity means we're on a bit of an angle. But because of that though, we've got a bit of a steep angle here. I might just outer coils to the top of the beam. What we could do is just wrap the strap around to come down this side of the wall. I prefer having this. There's always options though. I think this is the most secure way to do it. Just want to point out why it's important to go through and do these straps first, because you can see now that block's hardened where that beam is, so it's going to be a nightmare if I left those cyclone ties. And I might jump up now though. We're going to do the same thing through here, build a little nib wall, because upstairs walls are also going to be landing on this here. You can see how much the walls are out by. So what I'm going to do, get any better than that. I'll get rid of that level, I don't want to knock that down. 262 on that side, and that's shocking. We got 262 on that side. Can't get that in there. So 7mm difference, definitely not for that side. It's a bit better. So I'm going to make sure when I plumb it up, I want to check for straight. Should roughly hold it in place. Blocks underneath all those top cords through there, and then alright, we're back and we are ready to start flooring. For one unit though, so we're going to start over here, try to get this unit completely floored, and the goal is over the next few days we'll be building the walls up here and do everything on this side while we wait for the flooring on the other side. The bathroom over there, the entire way down. What I normally do for this, since they are 800mm, I'll get you to do the same thing, but we'll measure it in a few points. This party wall, we've strung it, this party wall down here should be perfect, but I'm just going to go off at a few different points, and it's just going to make sure everything is perfect and running in a straight line. And then I'll do one right at the end. Alright. So yeah, we'll go what we'll do, can I get you to hold it here?
Yeah.
I'll walk it down.
Yeah.
So you hold it on that mark. You go down, then he'll pull his... Is that very tight? Let me pick this up. I'm pretty happy with that. We're like within a mil from that wall there. I'm just going to put my finger down. Sweet as, boys, thank you. Looked through quite well. So we're just going to start straight away now with our first sheet of flooring. And as I said, we're just going to measure off that line off 100 mil. And that way we know. It's also reassuring too to know that our party walls remained completely straight after putting all the posies up too.
That is the box. Built top goods, yeah, up in this bitch. We got 5 litres.
I'll get you some emails up. Otherwise,
It's right, that's right.
Alright, can you try to slide it across to me?
Yeah.
Alright. So what I'm going to do, we'll get it roughly good.
We'll jump to the other side.
Is measure 100 mil, which is right there. Oh, hang on, just try not to move that. It's 100 mil there. Cool. I'm just gonna shoot the edges off. What we do though is we won't shoot the shit off. We're gonna wait until these boys are done with the handrail. Oh, actually, hang on. I didn't glue this up completely. I just stopped. You hold that.
Yeah, I got balance.
Thank you. Sweet as. You just keep it hard in there where it needs to be. Got 100 mil there. Good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe it's because I use the blade for the composite decking. It could be slightly warped.
Oh,
I don't know. It could bouncing around. Actually, that's pretty good though.
What's the funny alarm going on?
While you cut that, I'm going to start working out with... So we have an 1800 ensuite here, which is going to be butting into that wall, which goes... Yeah, okay, this posi, sorry. So the wall's going to go here. That means our flooring is going to run through this way. So 1800, what I'm more so worried about now is I want to work out how far it goes coming back. Alright, so that should be the wall going through there. I do have a texter. Oh yeah. I'm just going to do a rough mark there. Cool. We'll keep laying these sheets down and then we can start playing around with these.
That sounds really good. Wait, can you cut to in the YouTube video of always catwalking?
You want to do a oh, you can do a catwalk.
Like Ben Stiller, but he does the catwalk.
See, there's our other mark. Once it gets to this posi here, we're going to start ripping it along here and leave that for the wet area. Is this it? Yeah. How do you prefer putting flooring sheets down? Will you hammer or foot? We'll go hammer. We'll use the hammer.
I'll change up every second one actually.
Lanting over. We've got to go down and now slide her across. Hang on, I'm going to move this across. For now. Oh yeah, no, you can shoot that one completely off. Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to take it down.
So you grab that side. So the reason we don't is because we want to slide this one in, and this one is going to be straight, and we're going to be able to see if the first two sheets kick at all. They shouldn't. Oh, it's been dented. Yeah. So I'm going to hit the shed in with the sledgy. Whenever we do that, we always want to start away from the joint and work our way to it. And this is also going to pull the butt joint in and make sure it's all nice and tight. So as we can see, we've hit that in, but you can see the... Do you? Yeah. Alright, so we've floored what we could for now. We're about to jump up. I'm going to do the flick out cut in and get a few walls up today. For that though, we've got to start cutting these studs. We've got about 6 stacks of studs here. Use this LVL laying down here. We'll clear out this garage and get someone cutting studs all day. Cut those studs and we'll get all the studs stacked a bit of time. Yeah. Should be set up. What we'll do is after every check it in case it does move. But that's a nice little step just to make it a little bit more comfortable. I'm not going to go over the flick out too much up here. It's going to be very straightforward. So this flooring is completely straight. We measured up from the lower wall. So what we're going to do is just come in 90mm from all the points.
For now though, I'm obviously tackling the bit of steel that had the threaded rod sticking up on top of it. So the reason we're changing our goal is we originally were going to frame all the walls in one unit while we waited for more flooring to come. The flooring actually came really quickly though, so while it's here, we've also been told that we're going to get an extra set of hands tomorrow. So today we stopped the pre-cut, we stopped screwing down the flooring, and I'm going to get 2 guys onto the party wall to try to build the party wall in one unit, and I'm going to jump over to the other unit and start doing the flooring. Here so far, it's going to be 39 degrees today. I'm going to do a plumb brace either end of the wall, and since it is a long continuous party wall, I am going to get a string line and we're going to string temp braces coming down off this wall, because when we do stand up the Hebel panels, there will be a fair bit of weight pulling on it. Doing the top plates and all the straps over the wall too. The reason we want to make sure we get all these straps done now is we haven't pre-installed a lot of them on the ground because we are using the spikies. And Alright, so we're about to start passing up the Hebel panels. Before we do that, Basso's just going through right now, screwing on the L brackets that are going to hold the Hebel panels to the framed wall. Cutting up this fire seal. So I'm going to cut the fire seal up into strips, and this sits, and then when we drop our new panels on, they're going to sit down on top of this fire seal, and the weight of the Hebel panel on top of it should squish the fire seal down, stopping any gaps in between the panels at all, as I thought it would be. Yeah, it was pretty hot, the panels are quite heavy. The worst part has definitely been covered in sunscreen and having the dust from the Hebel drop down back after lunch to start building the Hebel wall. Everything else is exactly the same. We're doing 10 panels, someone's behind the wall, screwing the L brackets into the panels to hold them as we go. We've got the Hebel adhesive that we're chucking in between every single...
Alright, so it's going to be another 30 plus degrees Saturday. You can see we flicked out the unit. Plan wasn't to do too much at all, we just wanted to do a few little things like that. So that we'll get some guys finishing the pre-cut, finishing cutting them, and then hopefully within an hour, maybe 2 hours max.
I've skipped over building all the walls upstairs because it's the same process that we went through when we were building the lower walls. Not everything's done because we ran out of timber, but we've got enough done though, so we can start.
Alright, so this is a plan, this is a roof we're building. It's actually going to go this way like that. It's a very straight, and we can see we've got a box gutter running on the external side of the house. So the truss spacings are 600mm. I'm going to start going through, marking them out, and we just need to play around where these skylights go when we get up to them. I'm going to jump straight into it. Because the last thing we want is for the truss to slightly go over this wall. We will build that up with a parapet wall, and if that truss goes over it, it means to make this wall work, we're going to have to cut 12. Always want to make sure these spacings are continuous, meaning that the tape hooks over and we keep marking across, opposed to just doing a place and then I do the same thing over there. Our truss measurements can start to keep the place. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. And obviously we want to mark the other side out as well. With trusses. This whole roof should get done so quickly. What I want to do here is just get a measurement, which is 440 to that last truss mark, next truss. Actually, looking at the plan, ignore that 440. This next truss obviously has to... So I'm going to get that 440 measurement I got from this truss, 5mm across to the inside of that wall. Doing the same thing we've done over there, we want to suck that truss in 5mm so we can build a parapet wall there. And we can't do 600 centers here. And this plan's actually made it super easy for us to do these skylights as well. So they've started that measurement from the outside of that wall. So all I have to do is hook over the there, measure across 3655, and then that's going to be where this first skylight truss goes. And then we can see we've got 1165. Super easy. What I normally do is also check the architecturals to make sure it's in the right place. Basically right above me here. So it looks like it's going to be lined up with this little walkway, this hallway through here. So I'm just going to visually check it with these walls and make sure it's relatively centered when we do frame that. And since they're getting these ones here, I'm just going to start throwing these trusses up. You can see how easy it is to mark these out. So on a roof like this, I don't mind if we're marking it out as we're pulling the trusses up. One person will. Yep. Do you want to land this on your side and I'll walk up the ladder with it?
I can pass it up to you, Dave.
Oh, I'm alright. Mil from that wall. 5-10 mil. How's your length there? Oh, that's sweet. Just let me know if it changes.
Yeah.
So since I'm leaning it on the wall there, it's probably my side. And then when we plumb it up, we'll pull your wall in, get your wall right.
Yeah.
Sure. Can you give the wall a tap in a mil? Well, that's good. Playing with some smaller trusses, they're so light, easy to get up.
No.
Good there. Alright, so we're actually flying through the trusses right now. I think it's just this pack left. There's 13 here that we're going to pass up. We're going to get all the trusses up and then where the skylights go. It's pretty simple, but we'll jump on it anyway. We've got the trusses up in this unit. Where are they? We've left out the skylights. But we just have, and it's all the timber we need. So we've got a couple walls to build them. And we're just going to get this done. I'm not going to film, I've covered so many times. So we're going to jump to this unit, and then when I jump back over there to do the skylights, to finish this roof off. Alright, so we've got most of the trusses up in this unit now. One of the guys actually jumped on, and they've done the skylight trusses in the first unit we started with. So we can see they're framed up there, the other one's framed up there as well. Alright, so we can actually see they're marked out quite easily for us. Plan is that way. It's a bit hard to see on the camera, but off the 730 opening. 175. I'm actually going to mark the 35 for the truss so we can see this side of it. So that's the inside. I'm going to jam this in here. It is nice and tight. At this stage, we're just going to put the trusses in. It should give us enough room to frame it up for the actual window to sit on. We plumb that one up. So that was PGT2 we put in, which goes furthest to the back. That's the larger one. And then this one, it's also PGT2. We got PGT1, this is what we need. Smaller and smaller the further along we go. So 730 across, this truss should work out. So I think my ladder might be just in the way. We go 730. That's the inside there. Sweet as. That's good there. So that's how we're leaving it for now. I think later in the lockup we will go through at some point and frame this to be a bit smaller. So we've got one here. Where's that mark? Mark was up there. Together. I might actually jump up on the roof to get this one in. And yeah, that's the right way there. And this one's obviously just going here to help hold that out. I'm just going to shoot straight through this one. And if I can get my gun in here. Easy as. That's the skylight framed out. So I'm going to jump through camera didn't die, which is always good. Skylight isn't completely centered with this hallway. That's because the truss has allowed us for a 1165 opening. I'll double check, I think the skylight might be 900. So probably, I'll say lock-up stage, we're going to have to do that before the roof goes on.
We're turning our attentions onto the parapet walls and the box gutters. To build a box gutter, we've got to go through and build the parapet walls first. So we're going to go through, build this wall the entire. There's going to be a rain head, so we don't have to worry about the height. And what I'm going to be doing is trimming these blocks to the side of the truss, and every single truss, they're going to slightly get higher and higher. And you can see these end ones here, they do get a little bit higher, so we can't just laminate the block to the side.
Oh, the 4.8. Can I get one? I'll get one. Thanks.
Now for the box gutter, it's not going to be made out of the same colourboard material that the roof sheet's made out of. The roof sheets are a lot stronger, so the box gutter is just a small, thin tray for the box gutter, and they're going to be a permanent, strong base. This allows for the tray to sit on the valley board, and then obviously if we get any weight from the water.
One, two, three, four.
Trusses, and this acts in a very similar way, pretty much, and it's going to be enough to stop that roof from moving side to side.
The timber we need to frame up the openings for the skylight, 40 by 35 beams though to do it. So that's a little bit involved to get these right. The way I normally do my skylights is that I have double the amount of 140, and I build all four sides for the roof sheets. We can't do that because we don't have enough timber, so we're going to have to figure out a different way to do it, and we'll get up to that once I build these skylights on the ground first. Them to be square, and then I'm just going to throw a brace across them, screw it on, just to make sure the skylights remain square when I move them up and get them up on top. It's pretty good there. And this 35 here can act as a batten for the roofers to screw to. What it also does is it gives us a base at the bottom of the skylight, a bit easier to screw to. We didn't have that on site, so we're going to have to use a 9035, and I've actually already gone through about that skylight. Is I've found the middle of the opening and done a centre mark. What I'm also going to do, double check that measurement was right, we're all good. I'm going to square this down, and I'm going to line that mark up with the centre line of the frame. Centre mark there. I got that by finding the centre of that hallway downstairs and the centre mark I've got on this skylight. So if it's out by 5 mil one way, you're more than likely going to be able to see it. So we're going to make sure this is perfect. So I'm looking pretty good there with both marks. This party wall here, or this parapet wall here, is plumbed up and it's following the hallway line downstairs by a few mil here or there. We got 183, 180. Just want to play around with that a tiny bit more. We're parallel off that wall, double checking my mark, and now I can just go around and screw it straight down into the trusses below. And with that screwed off, our skylight should be held square right now. So I can get rid of this brace. And your skylight will hook over this here. Obviously in the inside, we still got to frame that out and do the opening for the skylight, but we will be doing that one in the lockup.
The next thing we're going to do is, while we're doing timber frames, we always put the windows in before the house gets wrapped, which I know is quite different to other places around the world.
So what we're going to do to start with is just go through, obviously pre-drill every single window. We're going to level the sills, throw the windows in, and just try to get them all in to start with. And then after that, we're just going to go through. It means our windows are going to go in flush with the frame, opposed to sticking out 10mm for plaster. Sum them up, pack them off, and get them right at the end. A few mil shorter than the other stud. So even though we spent the time leveling the subfloor, that should all be level, I'm still checking the window sills for that reason. Especially in this room here too. This is going to be the toilet, meaning alright, do you guys have that up? Cool. A few of these crosses, we're going to have to change a few things because the plans aren't actually working out, and we've got a lot of framing and a lot of work to do to finish off the fronts of these two units. Can you hold that balance for a sec?
Yeah, got it.
I'm going to jump up a bit more.
Yeah. Good?
Yes, sir.
Probably alright. Yep. I'm good there. Yep, you're good.
Nice.
Alright, so I honestly don't know what happened to the rest of the footage after just putting those beams up, but we just went through and built a few box gutters and a small tray roof at the front there. Even with losing that footage, so if you enjoyed this video and you'd love to watch a different style of house get built, maybe with a hip and valley roof or a more architectural design finish, let me know, because I had a lot of fun doing walk through once the frame was done and talked about every component, bit of hardware, bit of bracing and what everything